Hi. Woohoo, here we
I,
are.
I know it's my first Instagram live.
No, it's good.
An
I
old
noticed,
lady.
huh? I noticed that you started the live on your own. Oh, here.
I was trying to figure it out, so I just was like, oh, okay, right, making sure I know
Someone
how to do it.
someone said, I asked how do people know things are magic or how does it feel? Someone said, it's a feeling that is like a tingling in my back that goes up my spine and reaches up to my head and heart with a sense of awe. So I've heard, and Kid is joining us, I've heard
Okay.
awe and wonder.
Hi,
And
Sasha.
Nicole, is that right? Did you have a band at one point? Were you a
I
musician at one
did,
point?
yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about the band
We were
before?
magical. No, I'm just kidding. We were, it was me and two other women, and
Uh-huh.
we were in New York,
Uh-huh.
and we were like kind of like an art rock, I
Uh-huh.
guess, kind
Yeah.
of band. Um, yeah, and I played guitar and sang.
Uh-huh. Great.
We were called the Spells.
Oh,
Speaking of
interesting.
magic.
And that was before you were a practicing witch, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you were an artist. Was that like around art school or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, I didn't. I went to art school for a minute, but then I went to liberal arts school.
Ah, I
But
see.
I did study. I mean, I studied art, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was always a thing. The thing
I
I
always
did.
feel like I always feel like the best music comes out of people who have been like trained in art or kind of ambition is have bring the art to music, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't like a technical musician. That's for sure.
That's what I like.
But
Are you
actually, somebody said to me one time, this guy who's an amazing guitar player,
uh
said, "Oh, this one thing you do is really cool." And I was like, I mean, why would you know? I was like, why would you even say that to me? I could barely know how to play guitar. It's like a means to an end. But and then we were just talking about it and saying how kind of like the not knowing the technical, a lot of the technical part actually made me more creative, like something
uh
he wouldn't have thought of because he had been like taught a certain way, you know,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
sometimes it's like outsider art, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Like I can see people who've been academically trained and sometimes they get more self-conscious about things. Like you can
Yeah,
maybe you overthink a little bit, which is
yeah,
big reason why I like doodling because it's hard to overthink something when you're not aiming for anything. So
totally.
I kind of,
Yeah, it's like kids. They make like really good art.
yeah,
Little
yeah,
kids, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. And there's like a physicality there too that I've been noticing more and more that I like, where it's just like I'm not trying to make my tools or the paint do anything but just be what it is, you know? And that's
Yeah.
kind of fun. All right, you ready to doodle?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, now this is
Hopefully
where
I can,
things, huh?
I don't know, hopefully I can set this up right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing. This is always the funny part where it's like we jumble around, and this is where folks talk to each other and they jumble around themselves. So that's great. All right, here we go. Let's
Okay.
see. And this time I've got my arm. Last time I didn't have my arm, which is helpful.
What do you mean you didn't? You were missing an arm?
No, no, not an actual arm. This is where people get to see up my nose. I'm always happy about that. No, I have like a little arm. The camera goes in, and oops. And so
How do you
sometimes
do it without that?
I just
Tell
propped
us.
it up. I think I might have. Did I hold it up, or God, I don't even remember. How do I do it without it? I did it last, I'm like so unconscious half the time that I do these things. Not that like I'm drunk but more like I'm just, you know,
On
not
autopilot.
thinking. Oh, no, no. I mean, I love doing this. It's not like I am not
Yeah. No,
present.
no. I guess I
But
didn't mean that.
it's a little bit like there's so many things that I'm thinking about while I do stuff that it always works out. So you've noticed like stuff is at the that the I'm kind of at the top of the the frame. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you'll only get half a frame. Sorry about that. That wasn't part of what we talked about.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
We got it.
Yay, we did it. So now you have a practice. Do you have a drawing practice, or what kind of art are you making now? What do you do?
Well, um, I don't know. I always work on like 20 different things at once.
Okay.
Um, but I was just I'll, I'll answer that question, but I was just thinking about doodling and I was like, how do I doodle? Like, and
Yeah.
then I was like, usually it always involves words. Like I always
Okay.
like doodle with words, I realized.
Oh, that's really
Or like,
interesting.
yeah, which I mean, I just hadn't really ever thought about.
That
I
seems
guess
kind of
because I'll be like taking notes or like, I don't know.
yeah. That's also kind of like spell like for me. What I do, I do kids album covers, um, and I do all the hand done print. You know, like I take his lyrics and his name, and I kind of do the fonts and stuff myself for them. And a lot of times I try to think about that the way that the words look also kind of they can have a sound. The way that they're drawn, if that makes sense. Oh. Oops, did I lose you? I think I lost you. Well, maybe you'll come back. Um, Something happened. I hope can folks hear me? Am I still connected? Could someone say something in the chat so I know that I'm not in some limbo? Okay. Could someone say something in the chat? Just anything. Okay, we're back. Welcome back.
What happened?
I really don't know. Technology is
The
sometimes
ghost.
beyond me. The ghost. I
Of
do.
Instagram.
Sometimes I feel like ghosts are like um, want to share what they're trying to say something too, so they kind of get into the online system.
Totally. They get into my phone for sure.
I can't remember what we were talking about. I think we were talking a little bit about the artwork you're making, but I was talking, and maybe by myself, about how I work with words a lot when I do kids' album covers, and that it makes me think about that
Oh,
the way.
I didn't realize you did his album covers. That's great. That's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
yes. Oh yeah. So, and it's gotten me to think more about like the ways that words look kind of make you say them a certain way, or they feel a certain way. It's kind of fun.
Totally.
Yeah. And so one of the things like that I know is that you've done artwork with hair,
Oh
and
yeah.
and how did that start?
Hence the name of the theme.
I know, really, I know it's really like dad humor. Sorry about that, but well, and my dad's on the phone. Dad, your humor is better than that. I just want to let you know. So,
um and wait, so it's a play too on her story.
yes, it is. Yes,
It
yes.
surely is.
I was
Um
doing my best there. Mhm.
um so like when I was growing up, my mom collected antiques and she collected like antique clothes. Like she was like really into it. And
Cool.
and so I would, I grew up going to like estate sales. Like they'd get up at like 5 a.m. and like have to go get there first or whatever. It was crazy.
Mhm.
And it was like really, it was at one point like super intense and competitive estate sales. Um, anyways, and so I always like was around that kind of thing and interested, you know. And then when I moved to New York, and so I always went to like antique stores. So when I moved to New York, I went to this place, Obscura Antiques, which
Oh
ended
yeah,
up, they did the reality TV show or whatever.
they did. I
And
remember those. Yeah, there was like the cute clerk, and then there was the ornery clerk,
oh,
and
really?
others. Yeah, they kind of, they were doing all that,
I
the
actually
single
did
one.
date, I dated this guy that worked there at one point who was in this band called the Stiffs.
Were
And
you
they,
were you in the show?
in the
Did they ever
show.
did they ever film you? Because they did film
Oh, no,
someone.
no. This was like
Okay.
way before the show.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was
I
geeking
feel like
out.
the show's like pretty relatively new. But
Okay.
so so yeah, but he dressed in all Victorian gear, like spats, like everything Victorian. He was like
Wow.
over the top.
Yeah, yeah.
And he yeah, anyways, he worked there. But anyways, I would go there. I would go there. And I remember I went in there one day and there was a Victorian hair wreath. They had a
Uh-huh.
bunch of
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, they had like unusual antiques. And
Yeah.
I was just like, what is that? Like I want that. I want to make that. It's so weird and like,
Yeah.
it's just such a like it's that real like, beautiful grotesque kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So and so you know, I they had this one and I just wanted it. And so I ended up buying it on like layaway. And she and then I said to her, Evan or whatever the woman is, the owner,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, how do you know how to do that? Like I want to learn how to do this. Like how would I know, like how would I learn? Do you know anything about it?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh yeah, I have books on it, and you can like, I'm not selling them, but you could like Xerox them, um, which I guess shows what time it was, and
Yeah. Yeah.
she's like, you could Xerox them, but I'm not selling them, but you'd have to be crazy to do it because it's just insane. And I was like,
You're like,
okay.
this is for me.
Exactly. So I didn't learn it then. I was too busy doing other things. But I did later when I went to grad school. I was able to take the time and I just taught myself how to do it.
Wow.
It's kind of like lace making with hair, you know.
I guess there's a
So,
like braiding and stuff, but how do you keep it? How do you keep it from falling apart? You know what I mean? Like, won't it? Does it? How? I mean, I guess it lasts. So because it's hair, doesn't
yeah,
get
it
dusty.
lasts. It
Yeah.
does last. I mean, it's on like Egyptian mummies and shit. So,
So and you don't lacquer it or do anything like that.
no.
Okay,
You
interesting.
just you boil it in salt water.
Uh huh.
So yeah, which is kind of a funny thing to be doing when people walk into the kitchen. But you boil it so that you just get anything off of it.
Oh,
It's really
interesting.
the like dirt or the impurities on it that would deteriorate it. So
Interesting. Huh.
yeah, and I guess like that's kind of in my work. I like a lot of things that are handmade, like, and that's sort of like this weird. I like craft thing, doing
Yeah.
craft things,
Uh
and
huh.
I feel like it fits my obsessive nature of just doing this thing over and over and over again.
Do you feel like when you do things over and over, it gets you into another realm, or I mean, what?
Yeah, it's kind of
How
like
does
a
it?
meditation. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Interesting. Do you
Um,
feel? I'm wondering if is that like a could that be like a bridge to kind of the practice of witchcraft too?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's related. I mean, I think that, well, even just hair work, I was like, this is just you know, because there's like all the like, oh, you have someone's hair, you can put a spell on them, and
Right.
control them completely.
There's yeah,
So
there's like a
what?
scene. There's a scene in Godfather 2 where uh, someone is like clipping their nose, their not their nose, but clipping their toenails or their nails on a patio, and then woman, a woman, I guess from the mafia family. I just remember this scene. Says, "You better clean those up because someone could steal those and put a spell on you." So ever
Right.
since then, I've been really careful with my nails. I have a I have a friend Shinsuke too who says that you should only cut your nails during the first part of the day because if you do it later in the day, it's like you're cutting your life short or something like that. So I get
Huh.
kind of this idea that anyway, that sounds strange, I guess, but it's kind of like these ways that we think about our body and try to like protect it even if it's not on us anymore or something. I guess I'm
Right.
thinking about the hair. I don't know. I went off on that
No,
one.
well, yeah. I mean, that's the idea. That's like it's like it carries our energy still, sort of.
Right.
Um, which which I think it does, you know.
Right.
Can. I don't think it
Uh-huh.
and I think that I was gonna say something about this. I don't remember where I was going with it. Something
Was
about,
it?
I mean, disembodied hair is just weird, anyways. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of weirder than nails.
Well,
Did you ever
I'm
see
actually,
there's that? Oh, sorry. There's
oh,
this
what?
artist whose name I can't think of right now. He makes these like machines and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
he made this like tiny little like bird skeleton out of his fingernails.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Oh, I
Did he do
can't.
something? He did something about that, the the chimpanzee Lucy as well, like an artwork, I think, where he he basically made did he make a skeleton of the chimpanzee from tapes of the chimpanzee talking? It was something like that. It was pretty intense. But maybe
Wow,
I don't think it's the
that
same
might be
person.
this. That might be the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all that kind of stuff is really interesting to me in terms of like, I mean, to me, that goes back to the Victorians a lot as well, because I feel like I look at like Victorian photography a lot, and their obsession with like the control of the body, and then also like death. They document a lot of death through photography. So that's
Yeah.
been, yeah. And it's there an interesting time. I sometimes think, are we like them now, even though supposedly we're more sexually, um, I guess, less repressed? But I still kind of feel like there's weird fetishizing that we may not be able to see like in our own culture now, but that I can see like in Victorian culture. Does that make sense?
It does. I think.
Thank you. Just say that. You don't have to say anything.
No. Well, I do think that I think it's I don't know. I think we're in such a state of flux right at the moment that I'm not quite sure
Like,
what's
yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
But I do. I almost think I just had the thought as you were saying that we sort of do what Victorians did with sex, with death.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
it flipped. Like
Interesting.
the
Uh-huh.
Victorians, like were so sexually like controlled and repressed, but then had all this, I don't know. There's like Victorian porn and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
and then they were just like out there with death. It was like really like in your face with death.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's kind of like the opposite. It's like now we have like porn everywhere and what I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but it just
No,
was a
that kind
thought.
of makes sense. That makes sense to me because it's something it's mysterious for people in the way that maybe sex used to be mysterious.
Mm,
I don't know. I'm not necessarily a Victorian, but the idea that the covering up of the body in that way was a very important kind of thing, you know, where that's not happening now. So I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not
I
coming
don't
up
know.
with any
I do
answers.
love the Victorians like covering up of the body, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we could use some of that.
Does that come up a lot with when you were doing the sex work? I mean, is it all right to talk about that? Because I saw you mentioned it, so I thought I'd just.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
thought, sex sells.
Oh,
Um,
is that what you? Oh, everyone's flocking now to
I'm
our
just
little conversation.
totally joking. So, now, what, where, what was your question?
I guess I'm wondering too. Did you find that there were people who fetishized clothing in the ways that, you know, or that
Oh, for sure.
there was a sense of wanting to be controlled in ways that people aren't controlled now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if sexual freedom has made people long for more repression. I know that sounds strange, but
Yeah, well, I think,
repression is a judgment. That sounds like a judgment. It kind of comes back to something a friend of mine, Anna Biller, said, which is she believes that people were more sexually free when everything was in the closet. So, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I agree with that one. Statement. Um, um,
You know,
no, yeah, I think that is an interesting theory. Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, I mean, what I did was like, it was, yeah, that kind of Bond BDSM stuff that's what that's about. I mean, there's a lot of correlation there, of control and sort of,
yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of things, but, I guess, but yeah. And I think, I don't know, you just made me think though of this. This is crazy. I don't know. It's really weird too. Like I haven't talked about the job,
Okay.
that job
Yeah.
much, but lately it keeps coming up for some reason. But yeah, there was like it was the craziest job. There was like I had this, like, it was phone sex for those who don't know what I'm talking
Oh,
about. And
interesting.
it was phone sex. It wasn't, but it was like boutique phone sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was BDSM, and you would get like regular people. It was like it was a involved phone sex. And
Right.
so, um, but, and I had this whole crazy like Excel spreadsheet that like told me what everybody was into. And it was, my friends like were obsessed. They loved this spreadsheet. They thought it was the best thing they've ever read. And it would like,
Oh my
you
God.
could, so that you could be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm into too. And so, but there was this one, I think Patty's on here. I know she knows this story, but there was this one guy who would call me, and he, I mean, I really, really, I don't know. He was into dominating, so that was like the role play.
Okay.
And he would he would humiliate me with my outfits, with like bad fashion. And I was like, I did not think he was straight. I was sure he wasn't straight. So I was like, I don't know why he's calling this, but this was his thing,
Oh,
was to
wow.
like humiliate, so to speak, a woman with like, it would be like, it'd just be like you with like outfits that made you feel that were humiliating.
Terrible.
I don't know. It was the most, it was hilarious, and it was really hard to be serious
Didn't
for that one.
now? Did you truly feel humiliated, or did you have to act like you were
Oh my
by
God,
the
no, I
outfits?
hilarious. No.
Like, I mean, now and then you can put on a
No,
humiliating outfit and it's fine. You know, you know. I mean, I used to do performance art, and so in some ways, I know that sounds very different, but it's similar. There's a fantasy that you play out for an audience,
yeah,
and what I was involved with Movement Collective, and a big part of it was that the women would kind of put the men in humiliating situations, and that was I felt like we were kind of like a cartoon for people to laugh and project their anxieties onto, whatever. But yeah, for the guys, yeah, we always knew that if we were going to perform, like we were going to be covered with powder or wearing a diaper or naked on a spit like a cartoon. And yeah, and when I first started doing it, I didn't really. I just thought, oh, this is fun. This is new for me to try. And then as it went on, I was like, uh, I kind of started to think like, oh, this is really, really funny. And like, kind of like, like playing a character is what I guess I felt. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Basically, and that's kind
Yeah.
of what.
Oh, you went off.
I don't
You
know,
want?
and it's like
Okay.
using your imagination. I mean, most of the clients like wanted to be dominated, so like not it was the other way around. But
Right.
this
Right.
one,
Yeah.
he would humiliate me with like pink leather outfits and shit. I don't know.
You're not into pink? Is that not like?
No, I don't know. I didn't care. It was just what he thought. He thought I wouldn't wanted to wear, that I was some like, I don't know, tough, you know, tough
Right.
lady or something. I don't know.
Right. Right.
It was
Oh boy,
crazy.
that's gonna get
Uh,
her. But also too, you kind of like you're working with people who have maybe less imagination than you, so what they come up with is really nothing as
exactly.
bad
Well,
as.
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's probably a great job for artists, because they're like, yeah, I could probably have come up with something a little bit more
Yeah, I mean, it's
difficult.
really just like using your imagination, which is what
Right.
I guess you and I talked about the other day, Ryan, of like, I was like, this is why I think I'm really good at like leading journeys, like meditation journeys, like my
Right.
practice from that job,
No,
because it was all
completely.
about telling a story, basically,
And you were on the
and
phone,
just
right? So it was all
being
about your
creative.
voice and painting. Yeah,
But I'll
completely.
tell you,
That's so
but
interesting. Oh, you just went out in terms of sound.
um, oh,
Oh,
I
there we
did.
go.
Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So did you really wear a diaper in a performance?
Yeah, it was called Looks, and it was three of us. We were called Shrimps. You can look it up. It's probably online, which is great. And but yeah, they had us. They had us in girdles at one time,
It
and
up.
then we did another one where we kind of. I think we were like in like a diaper, not a real diaper, but kind of like a diaper, and we had to balance these giant squashes on our head. We did it at Lincoln Center in the 80s. It was all very 80s.
Oh, that was very.
It was very 80s, very 80s in that it was, well, I think I talked about this it was with we'd often open up for groups like the Kipper Kids, and who were big in the 80s, and it was very like messy performance, but kind of comical and grotesque. And
Mm.
I think it's kind of led me to be interested in that stuff in my art as well. Although I try to make it kind of beautiful in a way too. But I am interested in kind of things that are more monstrous or anomalies. Um,
Mm.
yeah, and mythological things and stuff like that. And I think it kind of comes from those kind of those masquerades that, or it's kind of like what we were doing. We're like being human cartoons or kind of dressing in costumes. Very much more theatrical. Performance art was very theatrical in the 80s, I think, at least in LA, where we mainly did it. But we went all over, you know. But yeah, that was very interesting. And strangely enough, like, you know, doing these things that were, you know, very obviously supposed to be pathetic. But then, you know, after performing, people would come up and want to get together with me, you know, like turned on and stuff. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? Usually women that want, you know, women like, you know, I guess a guy in a diaper smeared in powder was something, you know, I don't know. I wasn't thinking that at all when I was doing it. I thought I was, you know, making art. So my mind wasn't going that direction. I mean, I was pretty naive about it, but
That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah, the guys would always joke. It'd be like, this is we're not gonna become sex symbols doing this kind of work, you know. It's not, it's not like, you know, a lot of people at the time, you know, would do performance art to kind of, you know, find dates. That was the joke, you know. You kind of take your clothes off on a stage and you do some kind of speech, and then all of a sudden you got some dates. But the kind of stuff we were doing was not like that at all.
Oh man, that's funny.
And so now yeah, we are. I think we're coming. Yeah, we're coming to the end. Unfortunately, I have so much more to ask you, just in terms of the work that you're doing with people around witchcraft. I guess what we can say is that have people come and check out what you do on your Instagram. But
Yeah,
I would love to talk to you again about some of that, because it's so interesting the way it overlaps with art. You know.
totally. Yeah, we need to chat more about it.
Well, we'll have to do that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So I am going to switch around the camera.
That was fast.
It went fast. In fact, I started kind of early, but how did it go with your doodle? Oh, we do it for only a half an hour. I think I told you that, right?
Yeah, you did. Oh wait,
yeah.
my doodle not even in the screen, really?
Yeah, shift it into the screen a little. That's all right. Some of it was there. You saw some of it.
I wrote the word shrimps.
Ah. We'll have to have a reunion now.
I totally. Oh my god.
No. Yeah. Well,
hey, how was yours?
Oh, sorry. There's mine.
Oh, I like that one.
Kind of like 70s wallpaper. Here's another one. I'm in.
Did you do both of those tonight?
Yeah, I get very fast.
Wow. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I'm a nervous drawer. I like to keep it moving. So anyway, thank you very much, Nicole. I really enjoyed our conversation. And everyone, what's that?
Hi.
Oh, everyone,
no,
please.
Somebody that I haven't seen.
Someone what?
Nothing. Someone I just hadn't seen in a long time joined, so I was just saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry.
So, a couple things that we can tell people if
you
came in a little late. No, you're good now. So if you came in so people who've joined us a little late, that's okay. We start at 6. It's usually just a half an hour. And you can always see whatever you missed on Instagram TV. That sounded funny. But anyway, the Instagram TV, I archive all the episodes, and Nicole's will be archived if you're cool with that, Nicole. And
yeah.
Great. And also just to say that I will be out of town next Friday, but I'm going to try to do the show on the road, and Lynn Myers will be my guest. So I have to tell her that might happen. So we're going to do our best to get Wi-Fi and get out to all of you. And just thank you again, Nicole, and just letting you all know how much I appreciate you drawing with me, doodling with me, and that you keep coming back. And and we'll have to have Nicole again. So
Oh,
thank
thank you
you so
so
much.
much, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, have a good night, and see you perhaps, most likely, next Friday. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.